Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Cardin, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear today. I am honored to appear with General John Allen, our distinguished special presidential envoy. We were both just back from trips to the region. I know you received a full readout of the Secretary's trip yesterday. I have submitted a full statement for the record. The roots of the unprecedented instability we are witnessing in the Middle East are deep and systemic. To protect U.S. interests amidst this volatility, we have to recognize and cope with the challenges that states across the region face: weak political legitimacy, ineffective institutions, an enormous demographic youth bulge, lagging economies, religious sectarianism, and a lack of consensus on the role of Islam in politics. Our most urgent priority is to combat ISIL, which is preying on weak states to terrorize citizens and to create a massive humanitarian disaster. There are no easy or quick fixes for these daunting challenges. However, there are some success stories, notably in Tunisia, and I look forward to next week's ceremony to celebrate the National Dialogue Quartet's winning of the Nobel Peace Prize. We are determined to continue helping Tunisia stabilize its fragile democracy, grow its economy, and build its security institutions. Likewise, in Iraq, Prime Minister Abadi has made progress in reconciling Sunni-Shia differences and has courageously tackled corruption. We have a long road ahead, but we have stopped ISIL's territorial expansion and are helping stabilize areas liberated from ISIL. The administration succeeded in signing an agreement to remove the biggest threat to our security, Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon. We are fully cognizant of the challenges ahead with implementation of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. The U.S. will lift nuclear-related sanctions only after the IAEA has verified that Iran has completed the retired nuclear steps. Building on the historic summit that President Obama held at Camp David in May, we are helping our Gulf allies counter Iranian aggression by building their defensive military capabilities and by limiting Tehran's ability to support proxies like Hezbollah. In Lebanon, we are strengthening the armed forces, targeting Hezbollah's financial support structure, and urging the government to elect a president. Egyptians are voting in parliamentary elections, and we are helping Cairo fight ISIL-affiliated terrorists in Sinai, strengthen its border with Libya, and create jobs necessary for political stability. At the Strategic Dialogue in August, Secretary Kerry emphasized the need for Egypt to improve its human rights record, and we will continue to press for expanding freedoms for the Egyptian people. Secretary Kerry initiated meetings last week with Prime Minister Netanyahu, Palestinian Authority President Abbas, and Jordan's King Abdullah that resulted in a path to ease tensions, to ease Israeli-Palestinian tensions. We condemn the violence against both Israelis and Palestinians in the strongest possible terms and welcome the steps the parties have agreed to calm the situation. Libyans are inching closer to a government of national accord due to the work of the U.S., our European allies, and the UN. A national unity government will give us the counterterrorism partner we need to stabilize Libya. In Yemen, the Houthis and representatives of former President Saleh and President Hadi have agreed to direct consultations that we hope will begin soon. We are pressing the Saudi coalition to de-escalate its military campaign and ensure unfettered humanitarian access for assistance to the Yemeni people. Syria has been the subject of intense U.S. diplomacy. There is no military solution, and the international community cannot afford a continuation of the status quo, which yields only unending humanitarian catastrophes and refugee flows. Russia's military adventurism is directly aimed at U.S.-supported moderate opposition forces and was prompted because the Assad regime was losing territory and control. But we know Moscow does not want an unlimited commitment in Syria. As Secretary Kerry told you yesterday, he believes that now is the time to make a maximum effort to end the Syrian conflict. The solution can only come through a political transition. The Russian, Turkish, and Saudi counterparts we brought together last Friday in Vienna agreed on this. And in 2 days, Secretary Kerry will bring together a larger group to help begin a political process among Syrians to negotiate a political transition. We have no illusions about the prospects for success. Our differences with Russia, Iran, and the Assad regime are very substantial. but the benefits of ending this conflict and giving the Syrian people a government that respects them are even greater. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, the Middle East and North Africa is a deeply troubled region where profound challenges impede the better, economically successful, and politically stable future that the vast majority of people across the region fervently hope to achieve. At the same time, most of these countries are counting on the United States for support as they navigate this period of instability, for security cooperation, for economic partnerships, and for a leg up in the 21st century. Thank you.